If you like talking about video games, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am the Wiz! Hello everybody, and we are at the weekend now, so it is Friday, June 16th. I'm going to talk about the news that happened on the 15th and the 16th. If you didn't check the video yesterday, I did a video called Thin the Backlog with the Diofield Chronicle. You're going to see gameplay of that right now as we speak. I will likely do another part of that next week, probably around Tuesday-ish. We will see about that. I'm still not sure if we're going to continue playing that game. There are some problems with that game that I have, but other than that, I am kind of enjoying it, but I kind of wish it was better. I really want to play Growlancer again. I think that's the thing I'm getting out of it, really, is I really want to play another Growlancer. Anyway, let's get into the gaming news roundup, and we're going to start right here with an interview that Phil Spencer did with The Guardian, as he explains why Halo was a no-show at the Xbox Game Showcase on Sunday. In the interview, he quotes that, "I wouldn't say Halo is of lesser importance, but we have 20 first-party studios now. Though it's a good point that Halo does not need to be in every showcase, the absence was felt mainly because Halo has been the main franchise for Xbox, and there was such an emphasis on Halo Infinite being important to the success of Xbox Series X and S when it was released a few years ago. And while it is true that Xbox has many studios working on titles such as Perfect Dark, it can't be denied that the absence is slightly strange." The thing that I felt with this is that the reason why Halo Infinite or Halo was absent throughout the game showcase is basically they need to lay quiet to improve the game at this point. And to be fair also, even if the game was a success, I don't think it was necessary for it to be in the showcase to just show an update as to what their new season. On the one hand, people are taking it as, oh man, they're really trying to lay low on Halo, which, sure, I would too. But on the other hand, if it was a success, I don't think it would be on there either. Not a big deal, but I can understand why people question why it's not there. Moving on, Halo continued to be worked on by 343 Industries, despite the massive shakeup that happened. However, other studios may get involved in development, says Microsoft Game Studios head Matt Booty. Though Booty portrays it as a dev house decision as to whether a studio would work on Halo, it stands to reason that Microsoft could always bring a studio in to help develop a Halo game or content for Infinite. Booty mentions in an interview with Axios that if studios like Call of Duty dev Infinity Ward would want to take a crack at Halo, it's their decision to do so, and Microsoft won't force anyone to do it. Even if the Activision Blizzard doesn't happen, Microsoft has devs like id Software, Rare, and Arkane who have made high-quality first-person shooters in the past, so they do hold a sizable amount of teams that could handle that task. However, it's hard to see a reason as to why Xbox would take resources away from those big companies in order to help an ailing game franchise that, to some, is likely dead in the water, specifically Halo Infinite in that end. Speaking of Arkane Studios, Matt Booty also said that there are no plans to shut down Arkane Austin after the disastrous launch of Redfall. In the same interview with Axios, Booty says that Arkane Austin is working on updates for Redfall and that Xbox should have supported Arkane Austin better during its development. It's rare for a console manufacturer like Xbox to fall on the sword for a game that didn't meet expectations. This has been the playbook for a lot of Xbox failures as of recently. Acknowledge the problem, take responsibility from the top, and say you'll support the studio better next time. Though reports have surfaced that staff turnover was a key factor to Redfall's shoddy development, studio employees have gone on to say that everyone knew Redfall wasn't in good shape, even hoping it would be rebooted or canceled when Microsoft bought Bethesda. If there's one thing that is clear, Microsoft needs to get their development support and processes down. Apologies mean very little if they make the same mistakes. And with disasters like Halo Infinite and Redfall making up their big tentpole releases this generation, a shift in focus strategy may be the drastic step they need to actually gain a foothold back in the market. And now it's time for the segment where I talk about topics that surround the gaming industry. I call it The Wiz Says. If there is one strange discussion that's grown out of the Xbox Game Showcase on Sunday, it isn't whether Microsoft showed that they have a foothold back in the market share, or whether Starfield actually looks good. No, the decision I keep seeing online is, Why isn't the lady in Fable more attractive? That's right. For several days after the presentation, lots of tweets, articles, and think pieces were posted on whether it's a good or bad idea to make the main character in Fable trailer look so conventional. One side said it's great that they made the character less attractive. It portrays a regular person, and they may feel more represented with diverse physical characteristics that resemble normal people. The other side says it's a fantasy game, and they want to play it as such. They don't want to play as a frumpy, ugly person that reminds them of themselves. They want to be in the fantasy of being a super dashing warrior or seductive witch who will vanquish foes while looking extremely hot. To me, both are right and wrong. Though I do prefer to look like myself when given the chance in playing a game with, I am in my 40s with long gray hair and a gray beard. It's not that big of an issue in the end. Most games, when they have you create your own character, oftentimes the actual character development isn't that deep or meaningful. It's made basic enough so you can have your characters look however you want and it still fits. That is, unless you purposely make your character weird looking ugly, then you have a different type of enjoyment when you play those games. To me, the argument is rather pointless for a few reasons. One, past Fable games had you customize the look of your character. While the creation tools weren't in depth, it stands to reason that if you don't like the way the character looks, you'll be able to change that character unless Playground Games says otherwise. Second, and this is crucial, the look of a character means next to nothing anyway. Does a game's character and story truly matter how attractive or plain they look? Honestly, no, it really doesn't. What matters is if the character is fully realized and is a believable character. I watched the classic Hayao Miyazaki film Spirited Away for the film club review this week, and I was reminded on the character Chihiro. Chihiro isn't a conventionally pretty young girl. In fact, several characters note how plain looking she is. But her look is the least important part of that character. It's the growth from a spoiled brat to growing into a responsible, self-confident young woman. Very few people talk about her messy hair and nondescript clothing. It's the way that her character grows throughout the story that makes people attach themselves to her. But this is a gaming podcast. I know you guys, I know I'm hearing this from some of you. We're talking about games here, right? So why not use an example of a game? I got the perfect one, actually. Gone Home is a game from 2013 that gained critical acclaim, mixed reception to most gamers. It's a game that had rich storytelling and fully fleshed out characters, but gamers didn't give it a chance mostly because they derisively called it a walking simulator. If they would have given it a chance, they would have gotten one of the best stories in gaming. It's about a college student named Katie who goes back home to her family's house only to find something has gone wrong with the entire family. You piece together clues as to what happened with your parents, and more importantly, what happens with your sister, Samantha. I'm going to give spoilers on Gone Home, so if you haven't played it, you can stop here. In Gone Home, you come to learn that your sister is going through some tough ordeals at school, namely, realizing she's attracted to other women. Now, this isn't a big deal now in the 2020s, but at the time that the game is set, which is in the mid-90s, that's a fairly scary proposition to deal with at such a formative age when acceptance of gay-lesbian lifestyle was still considered taboo. The game cleverly and meticulously goes through the entirety of Samantha's ordeal, from realizing who she is to meeting someone who she's falling in love with, a girl named Lonnie. The 2 hours playing this game are spent looking for clues about how this person goes from being scared to accepting who she is and trying to love the way she feels comfortable. It is, without a doubt, one of the best stories I've ever played in a game. Full of heart, warmth, drama, and character complexities, it's one of the only games I've gotten an emotional reaction from. It's an example of excellent characterization, storytelling, and pacing. To me, it's a fucking masterpiece. Now, what didn't I mention in everything about Gone Home? Did you catch it? I'll give you a second. If you said the looks of the characters, you're absolutely right, and there is a reason why I didn't mention it. You don't get to see what they look like. You don't get to see their faces, you don't see their looks, their bodies, or the clothing they wear. Katie, your character, is in first person. Samantha and Lonnie are just contextual clues that you see here in an audio journal. The game lets you explore while finding more info on Sam and Lonnie, and it's better for it. Samantha is one of the best written characters in all of gaming, in my opinion. And I have no earthly clue what she looks like. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Kitty and Samantha could be black, white, Asian, Portuguese, Spanish, African. Doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. They are fully fleshed out, incredibly well-written characters that you can identify with while not seeing their faces. Which gets to my point. The least important aspect of any character in any visual art form is the look and attractiveness of the character being represented. If the character is attractive, if no other character even notices, who cares? If they're ugly, who cares? Unless the story makes a sordid effort to portray them as such, looks simply don't matter in the process of creating characters. And that is the problem with those who are fixated on looks as an important feature. With something so skin deep, how does it help create the character? The answer is, it doesn't. If you are one of those who thinks it's important to you for someone to look a certain way, ask yourself why that is. Do you truly care what a person looks like if they are a good person? I will bet you they don't. And honestly, the only time it matters what a character looks like in a game is in its marketing. That's it. It's literally the only time. Xbox and Playground Games seem to think it will sell more copies if the character looks a certain way. Will it? I have no earthly idea. But with so many things that the gaming landscape needs to improve on in game creation, such as budget, development time, monetization schemes, is it really necessary to get hung up on whether a person has perfect eyebrows or a big forehead? Of course it isn't. And that is it for this episode of I Am The Wiz Gaming. Saturday is the review of Spirited Away with Kim Shackman on the I Am The Wiz Film Club, so check that out on the pod feed or in the I Am The Wiz Film Club channel on YouTube. Also Sunday I will be talking about 5 of my favorite performances in film, so check that out. And Monday, I will talk about the news that happened over the weekend, as well as new releases that are coming next week. But until then, come back Monday to find out what happened in the gaming industry. You know my name, I am The Wiz, and I will see you next time. Bye.